Everybody, this is Casual MTG here with my first video. Going to be discussing one of my casual decks that I play with one of my buddies quite often. It's my my green-red deck. It's really green devotion with a splash of red. Basically just bringing big threats with a lot of mana ramp. So let's get into it. Obviously, we have the staples of any green deck, either be Llanowar Elves or Elvish Mystics. But I have 4 Elvish Mystics running in this one. Obviously for green ramp, you know, that's just what it does. Then I have this juicy little bitch, which I think is fantastic because it's basically a Nykthos as a creature, and if you have a couple of these on the board, you basically have unlimited mana with the type of devotion that will be running with the kind of creatures we will be running. For heavies, you'll definitely see why, and that's why I have 4 of them. We have Voyaging satyr or whatever the hell you want to call it. Got 2 of her, only because we do have 2 Nykthos in the deck. Perfect for untapping Nykthos, retapping, and you know, handling that the way it should be. We have 2 Rattle Mystics, just 2 ofs, mainly for the red mana and for the splash of red that we are playing with in the deck. And also we have 1 of Sylvan caryatid. Now the only reason why I have 1 ofs is because, again, I don't go and buy singles or anything. I'll buy like a box, and this is what I came up with, and you know, this is just how I make my decks. I buy a couple boxes, see what comes out of them, and I put something together that seems pretty reasonable for what I'm trying to do. So this really is the ramp of the deck, and then the next section is going to be mainly Plainswalkers and stuff like that. So, you know, right here we have 2 Nissa worldwakers, again, mainly for mana ramp. I do use the second ability on top up to 4 target farce quite often. So usually I could get turn 2, turn 3 Nissa out, which is pretty nice. And I have 2 of her. Again, only because I have 2 of her, I don't buy them. I got 1 of these guys, mainly because of the 0 ability and the +1 again for ramp. Usually if we have a couple Elvishes out and we put this out, think about it, that's already like 4 or 5, you know, extra mana right there. But the second, you know, the 0 ability is really good. And then we have this chick who Arlinn Chord. I like her +1 ability, I like her 0 ability, I love her flip abilities as well. Really the +1 ability is what I want. Of course my camera doesn't want to get into focus. Why would it ever just be perfect like that? And then on top of that you got the glare too, which doesn't help too much. But you know, for them to get 1+1 in trample, you know, be able to overrun them either early or mid game, so that's always quite helpful. But I only do have 4 Plainswalkers. I originally had the other new Nissas from which set was it? I forgot already. It's not Origins, is it? No, I don't think it's Origins. But I have one of the new Nissas where it makes like the 0/1 plant token. But I didn't see it really necessary. Now, when it comes down to it though, then you have to have spells, right? You gotta have things to help bring things out a little bit faster. I was addicted to M15 for a while. I thought it was a great format. And I also thought Terra was a great format. So I do have 2 bow of nyleas in here, or nyleas, mainly for the death touch ability. I know it has other abilities as well, but it works for me. Chord calling, obviously, because we are able to generate tokens for the convoke cost, and we're able to generate such a large amount of mana that we're able to get basically any answer we need for our deck. We have Oath of Nissa, just for, you know, just to get through the deck to pick out a couple cards we might need, either be a Planeswalker creature or just, you know, a land or a dual land that we have going on. And then we have a 1 of Primal command, which is basically like Chord calling, only doesn't come into play. But seeing that we could generate so much mana, and we could use 2 of them, I mean, I usually either bounce something, I gain 7 life, or I'll search for something. I really don't do the 3rd option too often, but that's usually what I run with in terms of how we, well, at least how I play anyway. Again, you know, me and my friend, we usually play casual, so you know, he runs a lot of older cards because, you know, me and him both quit Magic for a while, and then I've been just crazy in the MTG market and buying boxes just to get nice pulls. But it seems to be working out for the decks that I make as well, which is really nice. So it comes to the spice of the deck. where we have our heavies, our big creatures. And again, if you look at their cost, it's always 2 to 3 farce costing automatically. My favorite, of course, is Terra Stomper. It can't be countered. People fail to realize it. It has tramples. 8/8 has 3 farce for devotion. Like, it's automatically paying for itself for a half a Terra Stomper. Then we have this lovely one. This is my new favorite card because of its land ability. You search for your library for a land card, not a basic land, but a land card, so you can get fetches or whatever it is that you might want. We have a 1 of Polukranos only as a board wipe, really, because we're able to get the monstrosity cost so quickly, and it only costs 4 to play. Again, with our lovely Chica that is able to generate so much mana based off devotion, plus with Nykthos and Nissa, to be able to get monstrosity is so easily, it's ridiculous. Same thing with Mistcutter Hydra, answers for some blue, haste, protection from blue, it can't be countered. I mean, and I've easily gotten this thing to 15/15 rapidly, very, very quickly, like turn 4 or 5 rapidly. Hornet Nest, obviously, it's a good deterrent for a lot of cards, you know, for them attacking, because they don't want the 1/1 insects out in the field, especially with Death Touch on them and their flyers as well. And then, of course, we have Hornet Queen. Reason why: 3 farce as a part of the devotion. You get 4 1/1 flyers with Death Touch, so it makes sense to have. And overall, I mean, I've won with Hornet Queen alone plenty of times with my buddy. We got this guy also. He's one of my new favorites, mainly because of the haste, and it can't be countered, and it can't be targeted unless it's a green spell, which is phenomenal. So you can't even bounce it to my hand if you wanted to. You just can't. So lots of heavy creatures in the deck. You know, got all the ramp in the world, especially with this one right here. Oh, I mean, think about it. You have 2 Terra Stompers out. That's already 6, including yourself 7 mana right there. There's a Hornet Queen. You have a Nykthos on top of that. There's another 7 mana. That's 14. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw out 7 for Mistcutter Hydra. With all the devotion that we have, it's so heavy and so easy to use. I love playing with heavy creatures. I've always liked that during Magic. And that's what I really wanted to build this devotion deck out of, is generating a crap ton of mana and launching out huge bombs. And then we go into the splash of red. Help with removal, flying, trample. It's hard to deal with. It is Dragonlord atarka, whatever the hell you want to call him. Absolutely badass. Deals 5 damage divided the way I want. Could hit a Plainswalker and an opponent. It's an 8/8 flyer with trample. So if they have flyers in the field, not a big deal. We have Roast, obviously, for either one of their creatures or for Hornet's Nest, because right there, that's 5 insects that they have to deal with. That's if they don't have a lot of flyers, or any flyers at all for that matter, that's 5 damage every turn with Death Touch. And you have excellent perfect blockers. Now, one of my main things is, you know, because of that, it's just stupid, especially with Roast, because Roast costs 2 to get 5 creatures out. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then you have Creator's Claw, which is my other favorite win condition, because we can generate so much land. We always get the ferocious cost. And if we didn't want to win that way, we just really wanted to be scumbags, I mean, we could ping our Hornet Nest for 20 and get 20 insects onto the field, which is ridiculous. I mean, you could just sit there and watch them try to do things if you want, unless they have like Wrath of God or something, which, you know, it's whatever, but it's just fun to play with. With Quarter Calling, I figured Stormbreath Dragon have a 1-up just to try it out. Flying, haste, protection from white. I mean, it just makes sense. Hit in automatically right away. And this is also another little tester. I have a 1-of Messenger Speed just to be able to ramp faster. If we have our red mana source, you know, tap it, get one of our lovely mana creatures out there, one of our ramp creatures to have haste, so we could play automatically our big stuff really fast. And I have it as a 1-up to test, and I haven't really got to play with it too much, but it works out quite well. And then, of course, we have our lovely mana base. I do have 2, soon to be 3 Wooded Foothills, because I just opened up a box of cons and got my 3rd one. I have 1 of each, 1 of the Scrylands from Theros. and then one of the new lands from Innistrad, which I actually do like quite a bit. Just being able to scry, just to, you know, rule out if we have too many heavies in our hand, being able to rule them out. And then when they have this one, just go ahead, reveal mountain or forest. I mean, and you have, you know, your choice of color. Obviously, I just pulled my second Nykthos in a Theros box. Absolutely love the card. I've generated so much land with him. I mean, people just quit automatically. I have a 1-up for mountains, and I believe I have 10 or 9 forests. I'm not too sure. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah, fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 forests. I had a lot more, but with the ramp that we have, we don't need much. So, I mean, that's it. That's what I play with, and I hope you enjoyed my deck tech for my Green Devotion with Splash of Red beatdown. And I hope you enjoy the lovely video that I processed for you guys and made for you. Bye!